This is a Fox News alert. This afternoon, the President of the United States once again put himself and his office in the middle of the Trayvon Martin controversy and the heated race debate. Listen.
When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago. And when you think about why, in the African-American community at least, there's a lot of pain around what happened here, I think it's important to recognize that the African-American community is looking at this issue through a set of experiences and a history that doesn't go away. You know, there are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
And then the president speculated about what would have happened if Trayvon were white.
If a white male teen was involved in the same kind of scenario, that from top to bottom, both the outcome and the aftermath might have been different.
So this happened around 1:30 this afternoon. No one saw it coming. No one was briefed. He literally walked in on a Jay Carney press conference. Kimberly, there's a lot here. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the fact that he's the president of the United States. He shouldn't have commented on this case to begin with. That was improper. It could have an effect, on the outcome, on the jury selection, the whole process. And now he's gone ahead and done it again, repeating talking points from a lot of activists in the community that are displeased with the outcome and are really looking for essentially a public crucifixion of George Zimmerman to make their point. That is not the way to move forward in this country or improve race relations.
Geez, Greg, I was Trayvon.
What?
35 years ago, that could have been me. Before was I have a son who may have looked like Trayvon. Now that could have been me.
No, clearly President Obama should be impeached. Today was supposed to be a Zimmerman-free Friday. The A block was going to be 15 minutes of ducklings snoring. I'd cut all the tape, and now we have this. I love the way the media reacted. It was like all of a sudden there was a free Rolling Stone concert in the park.
Right.
It didn't matter what songs were playing. It's just that he was there and he was talking about it. I disagree with you, Kimberly. I think that I would like to think that the president has to address. I wish he didn't have to address this stuff.
With the comments he made?
Yeah, but unfortunately, he has to, because this thing has been stagnating and festering forever. And I, for one, I am out of opinions. I have no opinions. I have opinion depletion. For the last month, I've had opinion diarrhea. I am opinion drained.
Take some medication.
I am done.
Hang on to that.
Opinion Viagra.
I need opinion Viagra. I do.
He needs opinion Viagra. Hang in there.
But that opinion could last 4 hours, Eric.
Okay.
And if it doesn't go away, I have to go to the opinion hospital.
Consult your physician.
Call Dr.
Siegel. Paging Dr. Siegel.
Robert, that's second soundbite.
I think that first of all, his first soundbite was exactly right. He made exactly the right points. And unless I'm not black and I'm not in the African American community, but I spent a lot of time around it during my life. And the fact that he is relaying to the American people exactly right why people are reacting that way. And now his point about if it could have been him.
Yeah, what about that?
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have said that, but I think that the idea that somehow the African-American community is not upset about this, and the only reason they're doing this is because of Al Sharpton is ridiculous.
Let's talk about this, why he did it, Dana. I'm trying to figure out, Greg thinks he needs to address it. I'm trying to figure out why he had to go back there. Why did it have to be, the outcome may have been different if Trayvon were just white.
Terrible.
Exactly.
Like, I am not very good at discerning why he says certain things. I'll tell you why I think he said it. It's that tomorrow is Saturday. They're planning to have the big protests all around the country. And Al Sharpton, they were ginning that up all week. And earlier this week, Eric Holder, the Attorney General, said at the NAACP meeting, we will take a look at this from the federal level. Then you had Trayvon Martin's parents give very compelling interviews saying we want the federal government to be able to look at this and dot the I's and cross the T's. I think that what President Obama was doing today, and then followed up by the NAACP statement, is they're trying to say, all right, there's not going to be a federal case.
Well,
And we're going to have to move on.
Because they have no
and
case.
and they're going to try to do the stand your ground laws, which I think will be a real flop.
I'm glad you brought that up. Take a listen. President Obama spun the debate. He turned the debate from what this really was, a self-defense trial, into this stand your ground thing that, frankly, the Al Sharptons and Jesse Jacksons of the world want to bring up for some reason. We're going to look at the numbers in a minute. But what are you doing?
What am I? What
You're like sleeping. You got your
I'm
head
not
back.
sleeping. I'm just shocked.
No,
Okay,
he's
well,
heavy breathing.
Here's some shocking tape. Listen.
And for those who resist that idea that we should think about something like these stand your ground laws, I just ask people to consider, if Trayvon Martin was of age and armed, could he have stood his ground on that sidewalk? And do we actually think that he would have been justified in shooting Mr. Zimmerman, who had followed him in a car, because he felt threatened?
Kimberly, George Zimmerman was acquitted of murder under self-defense. What is President Obama bringing? Stand your ground into the debate at all?
This is the problem, okay, because there's so much misinformation. You have people talking about something that they really don't understand. They don't understand the law. They don't understand, in fact, what was applicable in this case. Stand your ground law was not used in the George Zimmerman case. It is the law in the state of Florida.
Obama on
he shouldn't
Friday
be opining
at
on
1:30 bring up stand your ground?
Yeah, why is he talking about it? That's not what this case is about. The case was about self-defense. It had nothing to do with stand your ground law. So he's looping in this argument, confusing the public. And by the way, it's more irresponsible behavior, because look at the Holder Justice Department getting involved, setting up a tip line, confiscating George Zimmerman's. Nothing's going to be enough until they get the blood of George Zimmerman.
I'll tell you why he did it. He did it because he's the most divisive president
get out of here.
Of presidents.
Give me a break.
Bob, why else do you bring up stand your ground?
Because he's a black man who's been through this, which we can't relate to. And by the way, could Zimmerman, if it wasn't for the stand your ground law, could Zimmerman have done what he did?
Yes.
Without the stand your ground law.
How many times do we have to do this, Bob? It's like Groundhog Day. I keep telling you that it was self-defense. When you're getting your butt whooped, you're getting your head bashed into the ground, you have a forensic pathologist testifying about the injuries that could be fatal if they continue, you're allowed to protect yourself.
Stay on the president. We've done this.
Look,
Greg points out we talked Zimmerman to death. Let's talk about President
I think what he's trying to do is move it on beyond Zimmerman. I think Dana's exactly right. I think they're not going to run a case against him.
I think it's stirring the pot.
2 points here. The one thing about it, things would have been different if Trayvon was white. You could say that about a lot of black victims of black-on-black violence as well. So that point is always going to be irrelevant. But I will say this. You got to focus on some of the positive things that Bob was talking about, is that he did mention something that is strikingly different from the Sharptons of the world. He says it's getting better. Which flies in the face of race baiting, and that is a positive thing. The next step for him is to start talking to people other than Al Sharpton. He could have people like Shelby Steele or Thomas Sowell come and visit the White House, and I think that would be a positive thing. He also talked about, and you got to be fair to him, he talked about black males and aggression and the negative reinforcement in black culture that leads to that. He did connect it to the context of poverty, which I sometimes have an issue with, because there are a lot of poor people who don't commit crimes. But I got to give him credit, or props, as we all like to use here, he's starting to address this stuff.
Hey,
maybe this is the beginning of a conversation.
Greg, let me ask you something. Why don't we have a conversation? No, but why don't we have
I thought it was out of comments.
Conversation about all the African Americans that were just killed in Chicago, or in Detroit, or in urban.
That's what he did mention.
Focusing in on George Zimmerman because his base is displeased with the outcome.
I'm talking about I just said I'm stressing one positive element of its speech. You got give him something, for God's sake.
I